everything on it at all? Will you be able to pull that off? Or he said that it didn't say specifically.
Well, I mean, let me give you some examples. There were two ballots where somebody voted for Trung Nguyen, and next to Janet Nguyen wrote, "Don't talk trash about people." Okay. Now that's not an identifying mark. It doesn't say the person's name. Doesn't say their initials. Those were both disqualified. You know, that's 2 out of the 7 votes right there. All right. There were the election guidelines put out by the Secretary of State. First off, are just that, they're guidelines. 26 counties use them. The rest of the counties do not. But what the guidelines say is you cannot have a message, text, or identifying mark unless it was intended to show voter intent. Well, in many cases, what happened with these Vietnamese ballots is they marked, they were going down the ballot looking for Trunc's name. They got to the first win, which is Janet. She was just ahead of him. They marked in her box, realized they'd made a mistake, crossed her out, which is okay under the rules. They then marked in Trung, which is okay under the rules. But to show that they meant to do that, they put initials next to Trunc's name. Now, to my mind, that's an initial intended to show their intent to correct their mistake. And the way I interpret those guidelines, that should have been okay. And we lost a lot of ballots that way. And my view is that it clearly was marked in, you know who they were supposed to vote for. Those votes should be allowed. For example, in Santa Clara County, they count all ballots, irrespective of whether it's names, initials, signatures, they count them all.
Also, I heard him say something about that electronic voting has not been challenged so far.
This is very new. The statute that we're talking about that requires that they use the paper trail, there's never been a court case on it. It's that new. So we will be breaking new ground here.
I mean, is this a case where you can get a different result each time you count the ballots?
Well, yes, it is. It is a case where you get a different result when you count the ballots, depending on what you decide your standards are for counting them. You know, if you allow flowers, but you don't allow Volkswagen Beetles, or you allow shopping lists, but you don't allow numbers. There was one ballot I remember where there was some numbers written at the bottom margin of the ballot, like random 3 or 4 random numbers. That one got disqualified. Why? I don't know. But other ones, where they wrote the ballot designation for Janet Nguyen, they rewrote it in Vietnamese, that didn't get thrown out. So depending, it can be kind of random as to what it is you decide that you want to do here.
So, Mike, what's the lawsuit going to ask for?
It's going to ask that a couple of things. The first thing it's going to ask is that the recount be declared as having been incomplete. If that's granted, then what will happen is that Trung Nguyen will be seated, because if there was no recount, he's already been certified. In the alternative, we're going to ask them to count all the ballots. If that happens, he will be done. Or if they decide that the recount wasn't complete, they could just void the election and call another election. And the judge has fairly wide discretion about what he can do here.
Would that be between all the candidates or just those 2?
It would be a completely new special election. Anybody can run, except me, of course, because I don't live in the district.
And what would be the timeline on a judge's ruling on something like this?
They have to, by law, they have to do it between 10 and 20 days after we file, which is today. And we're going to work with them to see if we can get an expedited trial and work with Mr. Schroeder and Janet's attorneys to see if we can get an expedited hearing.
Could you get like a TRO, go in and get something immediately?
I'm not sure yet. That's something we're looking at. We're not sure. I'll defer to our lawyers on that one. I don't know.
Now, what if a judge doesn't schedule for a hearing before the 6th? So does the board have to seat Janet and then...
They can do whatever they want on the 6th. They can seat or not seat. It's up to them. As county council said, that 28-day thing only applies to the registrar. It does not apply to them.
Now, I came in late, so what is your general feeling on what happened today?
The Trung Nguyen and the Trung Nguyen campaign are very pleased by what happened today. It was a validation of the fact that there are serious and substantial concerns that need to be resolved before they seat anybody.
And can we get a spelling of your name?
Yeah, it's Michael Schroeder, Schroeder, and I'm Trung Nguyen's attorney for the Trung Nguyen
campaign. The only ones that had the concerns, though, with the board, I mean, Neil Kelly and Ben DiMaio both were pretty firm that they thought that,
Well, right, they wouldn't have done what they did unless they thought it was okay, but I think there's significant legal problems with what they did, and that's what we're going to let the judge decide. And even they will tell you it's new ground, and, they need a judge to resolve this.
Michael, can we have a copy of your filing, your lawsuit?
I didn't give that?
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
It's this. You gave me this.
Right, and I have your fax number. Yeah, absolutely. We'll fax it to
The one I gave you, the fax I
Yep.
gave you last
Yep.
night. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
What is this?
Oh,
I have no idea. I'm holding it for.